Hey guys, and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul. Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and overview of this closed-loop liquid CPU cooler from CORSAIR's Hydro series. This is the H75. We will start off with a look at the retail box, which is totally new, as you can see, because it's got plastic wrap on it. Okay, so this being a closed-loop liquid cooler, this is designed to cool CPUs, Intel and AMD CPUs. I'll be going over the socket compatibility in just a moment. This is a high-performance, thin radiator, 120mm cooler, and it comes with two fans. So CORSAIR has set you up with a push-pull configuration right out of the box. Let's start with, I believe we have some, oh, that's in the box, features. That's what I wanted to start off with, right over here. So you get two dual high-torque 120mm PWM fans for cooling. You get a tool-free mounting bracket. This one does feature CORSAIR's newer mounting solution for their closed-loop coolers. Advanced copper microfin cold plate for excellent thermal conductivity. And then it's a 120mm by 27mm thick radiator, so it should fit in a lot of different cases as long as you have an open 120mm fan mount. Typically the fan mount at the top rear of the case is a great option for that. You also get sealed kink-resistant 10.5mm diameter tubing, which should fit in smaller spaces, and a high-quality ceramic bearing pump for nearly silent operation. Over on this side we have dimensions, so radiator dimensions 120 by 152 by 27, fan dimensions 120 by 120 by 25, fan speed variable from 800 to 2000 RPMs with PWM control, airflow is 54 CFMs, noise level 31.4 decibels, static pressure of 2.8, and then a power draw of 0.24 amps. And then over on this side, we have some more information about the fans. Custom engineered blades provide more airflow with less noise, and PWM compatibility allows you to customize the level of cooling performance you want. Also, the slim 27mm radiator narrow design is made intentionally so it can fit in systems that might have less clearance around the 120mm rear exhaust fan mount. Socket compatibility is listed down here towards the bottom. So for Intel, your compatibility ranges from LGA 1150, 1155, 1156, 1366, and 2011. So pretty much any current generation Intel platform will be supported here, whether you're talking about Ivy Bridge E, Sandy Bridge E, or the mainstream Ivy Bridge or Haswell processors. AMD, you get AM2, AM3, FM1, and FM2. That includes AM3 Plus and FM2 Plus, since those use the same mounting solutions. This is compatible with most PC cases with a standard 120mm fan toward fan mount near the CPU location. And then lastly, we have a comparative chart, which is up here in the top right. This is numbers from CORSAIR, but they tested a 4770K at 4.6 gigahertz under 100% load, and they found that with the Intel inbox cooler, it was not able to run. With this cooler, they got 81.2 degrees Celsius, which is quite nice for a 4770K at 4.6. Also, it was able to run quieter than the Intel box cooler, so that's also nice. Next up, let's take a look at the accessories. Your first accessory is some foam. Well, I guess it's not accessory. That's packing, but it's keeping everything nice and safe in here. Here's your H75 high-performance liquid CPU cooler manual. Oh look, also warranty information. I neglected to say that on the box. I'm glad this popped out. This has a 5-year manufacturer's warranty from CORSAIR, so they're definitely standing behind this product. And again, well, not again, but that's 5-year warranty. That's good to have. Here's your quick start guide. So this is going to give you a list of all of the included components and accessories. This is also going to give you a visual walkthrough of installation, including mounting everything to the motherboard, setting it properly, whether you're working with an Intel or an AMD socket, getting those fans properly installed and configured. And yeah, very thorough manual. Good job by CORSAIR, making sure that everything is taken care of. And they even have completely separate installation procedures for Intel and AMD, so also nice to have there. Okay, here's some accessories, and here are the two included fans, 120mm, and here's the radiator. Okay, so I organized all these accessories here for you guys just so you can get a better idea of what's what. Let's start off with, I'm going to kind of go over installation at the same time as I'm talking about accessories. So first off, you're going to need a backplate on your motherboard for every socket except for Intel socket LGA 2011, because that one has a universal backplate that's pre-installed. This is the backplate for your Intel sockets, and then if you're going to be doing an AMD installation, you will use the backplate that's pre-installed on your motherboard for that, but you will remove the top two pieces, so bear that in mind. This backplate has a few different position options here that you can move these into. So the closest position right there is for socket LGA 775. The center position is for socket 1150 and 1156, so that's probably the position that you're going to have that in. And then the outer socket is for LGA 1366, and you just slide that into position, line that up on the back of your motherboard tray, and then these will kind of poke through to the front side, and that is where the standoffs will screw into. So that's how that works. You have a retention bracket that actually clips onto the block itself, the block/pump. So this is the one that they've provided for AMD. There's also an Intel one which comes pre-installed on the block. So I'll give you guys a closer look at that once we take a closer look at this. And there's also a retention ring that holds that in place, which is really, really nice to have because it helps keep everything lined up and all together while you're doing your installation. So once your backplate is set up, you will install some standoffs. So again, with Intel LGA 2011, you'll use these with the pre-installed universal backplate. For the other Intel sockets, you will use these. They thread down onto those the little standoffs, and then, or these standoffs thread down onto the little holders, and then it gives you threading up on top. And then if you're going to be using AMD, you will simply thread these standoffs. They're black. The black ones are always the AMD ones in this particular configuration. And you will simply thread those onto the back plate that already comes with your AMD motherboard. Apart from that, we have a set of 8 screws right here, longer screws which are intended for mounting through your fans and into the radiator. They also have washers included. And then we've also got a fan splitter right here. Since chances are you're going to want to plug this into the CPU fan header on your motherboard, and you can use this splitter if you don't have a dual CPU fan header. Sometimes you have a main CPU and an optional or a secondary CPU fan header. Just plug this into the main one and then use that as a splitter so you can power both fans with that. You will also need power for the pump itself. That's in the simple 3-pin fan header right there, so also plug that into one of the other secondary fan headers on your motherboard. I like to plug these fans into the CPU fan header. That way it can adjust the speeds of these based on the temperature of the CPU. Apart from that, we also have the fans, so we give a closer look at that. Gray blades, you'll notice the nice wide flat blades since these are optimized for static pressure. They're fairly bare bones if you compare these to some of the like the SP120s that Corsair currently has available. So not a whole lot of bling going on or the colored rings or anything, but definitely quite functional as fans goes. And then again, you got 2 of these, so you can set them up in a push-pull configuration. And in case you're wondering, the side with the Corsair logo is where air will be drawing from, and it will push it out this way. Where out the back of the fan. So make sure you have those aligned in the same configuration because you don't want them to be fighting against each other. Simply position one on either side of the radiator. So here's the rest of the CLC unit, and we'll start over on this side with the Corsair logo, which is now right side up. There you go. Corsair logo, which has some plastic on it to keep it nice and pretty. This is the combo pump and water block. So the pump is located right in here, and by again plugging in that cable, the pump will run. Make sure you have that cable plugged in before you power up your system because having the liquid flowing through this system is very important for keeping things cool. Here at the bottom you can see your copper CPU block, and it does have some thermal paste pre-applied. I smudged it a little bit, sorry about that. And then also right here, this outer plastic ring can actually snap off. So if you're going to be using one of the other, like the AMD bracket right there, you'll want to pop off that little snap-on piece. That will let you remove this Intel, retention bracket and replace it with the AMD one. But this little guy makes it very nice because it actually holds that in place for the installation. Apart from that, you simply take these guys, little thumb screws, mount it like that, and then just put that on top of the threading that you've set up with your backplate, and that's pretty much how the installation goes. And those are thumb screws, but they also have the Phillips head, so you can use a screwdriver to tighten them down. I recommend giving it a fair amount of torque, but definitely don't over-tighten it because you don't want to strip anything. That's a potential hazard of installing these. But you do want to give it a fair amount of pressure to make sure you got plenty of pressure between the block and your CPU. Here's your tubing. Again, they've used nice thick tubing to allow plenty of liquid to flow through the units. And then over here you have your radiator, fairly standard 120 millimeter radiator. Again, slightly thinner right here, 27 millimeters, but setting up that push-pull configuration is still going to give you plenty of performance out of this unit. And then again, you got a little bit of a reservoir on either side, and then the tubing, which goes into there and flows across the aluminum fin array, which is right here, and then you can see the different channels that are going beyond those. One thing I will warn you guys, in case you haven't worked with these types of coolers before, when you're screwing in the screws right here, make sure if you don't use, if you happen to grab some extra screws or something like that and you're not going to use the ones that come along with this, make sure you don't use ones that are too long, because if you over tighten them, it can actually go through there and actually damage the fins beneath there, and in worst case scenarios it can actually puncture the channel. But it looks like this one is designed in such a way that you would damage the fins, but you wouldn't, hopefully you wouldn't severely damage the unit itself. But something to keep in mind if you're doing a closed-loop cooler installation or installing a fan on a radiator in general. And that is going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Once again, we've been taking a closer look at the CORSAIR Hydro Series H75 closed-loop liquid CPU cooler. I'm Paul with Newegg TV, and if you enjoyed this video, you can find more just like it on our Newegg TV YouTube channel, and you can find some that are similar to it on some of our other YouTube channels. So check those out as well, and see if you might want to subscribe to stuff like Newegg Arcade, Newegg Products, or Newegg Lifestyle. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful or entertaining, go ahead and leave me a comment or a like or a dislike down in the feedback section down below. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.